Ladies and gentlemen, today I will be running you through my personal top 10 quarterbacks of all time. My list is not old head approved, so if you believe in quarterbacks from the 60s or the 70s, just click off this video. Me personally, I include no quarterbacks from before the 80s, because for me, one of my biggest factors when talking about the greatest quarterbacks of all time is that they could go in any era of football. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think that any quarterback before the 80s can really go in any era of football. But without further ado, let's get straight into my personal Julian Marlowe top 10 quarterbacks of all time. Now, an honorable mention that I really want to bring up is John Elway. Me personally, I don't think he's top 10 quarterback of all time because his stats aren't really, flashy. But he did carry the Broncos, and I will give him credit for that. Obviously, when he left the Broncos from retirement, they became one of the worst teams in the league rapidly. So, obviously, his impact on the Broncos was significant. And once again, I will give him credit for that. Coming in at number 10, I don't like to throw him into this convo yet, and I'm pretty sure you know who it is. At number 10, we got Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to put him any further than 10 because I really think it's going to take him time to surpass, the quarterbacks on this list. But out of respect for the stuff he has already done and out of the stuff that I really do think he will do in the future as his career goes on, I will put him at 10. At number 9, we got Brett Favre. Now, a lot of people don't really give Brett Favre enough respect. I know he's one of the more turnover-prone quarterbacks of all time, but I still think he's one of the greatest to ever do it, and I think the respect should be given to him. Obviously led the Cheeseheads to a few, Super Bowl dubs, and overall, he really was a good quarterback despite the turnover problem. At number 8, we got Big Ben Roethlisberger. Now, every time I analyze Ben's film, I don't really see anything too flashy. He seems like a very standard quarterback, but he's still really good, and he still is one of the greatest of all time. And I think 8 is just about the perfect spot. I really do think Patrick Mahomes will surpass him all time at some point. But, right now, for me, Big Ben is at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we got Steve Young. Steve Young was ridiculously talented. I really do think he's kind of underrated. One of the first quarterbacks really to start scrambling. I think he was one of the first great left-handed quarterbacks. And really purely from a skill standpoint, I really do think he's closer to Joe Montana than a lot of people think. But, he's not there. Obviously, Joe Montana has a better resume. You got to take that into account. But they're closer. They're close in talent. And I do think Steve Young is the 7th greatest quarterback of all time. Coming in at number 6, we got Dan the Man Marino. Man, if Dan had at least one chip, just one, I think he could be over Joe Montana. But, unfortunately, he never won a ring, but he really is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I believe he was the first 5,000-yard passer, really put the Miami Dolphins on his back his entire career. And yeah, that is why I have Dan Marino as the 6th greatest quarterback of all time. Coming in at number 5, I think y'all saw it coming, but I got Joe Montana at number 5 all time. Now, I see crazy people saying that Joe Montana is the 2nd greatest quarterback of all time, or even the greatest quarterback of all time. That's just how you know those are the older heads, you know what I'm saying? But I will give Joe Montana respect. He is the 5th greatest quarterback of all time. No more than 5. He is at 5. Coming in at number 4, this is where it starts to get a little hot. But I think this is where Aaron Rodgers comes in. At number 4, I got Aaron Rodgers. Now, this is where a lot of people grill me and start to shut me up. But you got to hear me out. He's a 4-time MVP? That's pretty impressive, right? Obviously, the ring's not as impressive. He has 1 ring, which that's still something. But if you watch the man play, there's the argument that he is the most accurate quarterback of all time. He's up there. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time. But there's the argument that he is the most accurate quarterback of all time. He's one of the less turnover-prone quarterbacks of all time. And me personally, that's why I have him at 2. And then the list starts to get a little hotter again. Because at number 3, I got Peyton Manning. This is me personally, but I think Peyton Manning is one of the more overrated quarterbacks of all time. And the interceptions near the beginning of his career can be justified because he was in an awful system. But when it comes to the rings, they were kind of iffy. Obviously, he beat the Bears and got a ring out of that. Not the biggest accomplishment, but it's a ring. But who is leading the Bears? Rex Grossman? The reason why the Bears even got there was because of their defense and because of Devin Hessner, honestly. And, obviously he got absolutely booty clapped by, Seahawks and the Legion of Boom. And I'm not going to excuse the Carolina Panthers Super Bowl win because that was an actual, real Super Bowl win. The Panthers won, 15-1? And Cam had his MVP season? That's a real team that you beat down. But, I just think Peyton is one of the more overrated quarterbacks of all time. That's just me personally, but I will take into account his, immense knowledge of the game, because he really is smart. He knows his stuff. But yeah, that's just me personally. Now, here's where more of the, either you agree with it or you don't takes come in. I think Drew Brees is the second greatest quarterback of all time. Didn't he have like 5,000-yard seasons? And no MVP? That still baffles me. He should have at least won one MVP. I think he has a Super Bowl MVP. That's about it. But still, he should have won a league MVP at least once. He was worthy of it several times. And Drew Brees was a little turnover prone, but I think you could disregard that with his crazy stats. And I just really think that Drew Brees is the second greatest quarterback of all time. That's just me personally. A lot of people agree with it and a lot of people don't. But yeah, that's one of my more hotter takes. But now, I think this is where the list kind of ends. I think you already know who goes at number one, but, we'll just say it, just say it. Coming in at number one, the greatest quarterback of all time is Tom Brady. Resume is unmatched, stats unmatched. But yeah, that's my top 10 quarterbacks of all time. This is all my opinions, guys. If you guys think there was anything wrong with the list, tell me in the comments. But yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can receive notifications every single time I post. And yeah, see ya.